The winning streak continues. It keeps going for the Penguins. How did it keep going? At this point, before the Penguins played the Florida Panthers, the Penguins were at a streak of 3 games. How did it become 4? Welcome to this edition of Penguins Postgame. I'm Scott McGregor. Surprise, I'm back. Let's get rolling. You're locked in to Penguins Hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins play here on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Hey, shoot, he scores! The bingo game is ready to roll. Welcome to Penguins Postgame. A PPG for PGH. And you'd have to be here to believe it. Here is your host, Scott McGregor. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Penguins Postgame. Pens and the Panthers, the first of a couple between these two teams. The first of 3, rather, and only game this season. The Penguins will play the Panthers inside of PPG Paints Arena. All other matchups will be in Florida, down in Sunrise. I am back, indeed. I am back indeed. So, I'm back in the saddle. I will be with you for the Rangers and the Maple Leaf game as well. Here in the studio, I'm stepping in for Thomas. He's got a lot on his plate on the ice and behind the bench to do, especially when it comes to the Maple Leafs. But more on that another time. We got to talk about the Pens and the Panthers. As always, we start by going between the pipes. Before we do that, we start, as always, with the head coaches. And the head coaches for this matchup, Mike Sullivan for the Penguins, and Paul Maurice for the Florida Panthers. Paul Maurice, the Florida Panthers head coach of the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. They would send to the net as we now go into our matchup between the pipes. The Panthers would send Spencer Knight to the goal. He would be their goaltender to start. Chris Drieger with the backup assignment. Alex Nedeljkovic once again backing up for the Penguins in this game. This game is backed up for Alex Nedeljkovic. Tristan Jarry is the Penguins starter in goal. So it's 30 versus 35 and 39 versus 60 at the backup position. But to be straight to the point. Our matchup between the Pipes was Tristan Jarry versus Spencer Knight. All right. Our venue, PPG Paints Arena. The site of Saturday night's matchup between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's the site. The site will be PPG Paints Arena. And the site of the Penguins' next game is Madison Square Garden. We're going to talk about that more in a bit. Let's take our first time out. When we come back, how did this game end up not needing 60 minutes, but at least maybe 61 minutes? Not exactly 65, but it definitely needed extra time. We're going to break that all down via the scorers. Then, after the next break down the penalties in the game. And that will follow with the game stats. And still much more coming up, including the shake of the game, time permitting, game puck of the game. And even though it wasn't too busy a night when the Penguins played the Panthers on this Tuesday night, December 3rd, 2024. Of course, it's now Wednesday, December the 4th, 2024. As the countdown to saying hasta la vista to 2024 is officially underway. Of course, you got to get by Christmas first, but that is besides the point. We will be saying hasta la vista to 2024 in the coming days, as we are in the last month of 2024. With that said, we'll take a break, come back, get you the players who scored. Perhaps we'll get you the penalty killers in this segment, but we will see. There's a lot for us to cover. And when we get to game stats, I want to just run through it as the totals, not by period. We're going to run by totals. And I'm going to do that via the NHL app. Download the app for yourself and follow your favorite team every day, all season long. Back with more in a moment.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Looking for good sports conversations, sports media, and important topics for athletes and fans alike, and at times my favorite sports teams? Check out Sports for Beginners with me, Scott McGregor, where we will break down all of the action. To learn more about the podcast, like the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners. Welcome back to Penguins Postgame here. Penguins and Panthers, the topic of conversation. You know what will be the topic of conversation on Sports for Beginners in a couple days' time? A few days' time, I should say. Because we are going to do one final episode before we get to this finale. I have been in contact with Mark Afalo to try and get him on the pod. Mark, I'll try to get to you maybe for next season, in our 4th season of the podcast, but really looking forward to having a conversation with you when it comes to podcasting in general, and what those who may be new to podcasting may need to know, and probably should know. I'm still kind of new to podcasting. This is my 2nd year doing it. My 1st year was together with Ali, host of Broadcast Map, and my brother Thomas, host of On the Ice and Behind the Benches. So without further ado, we have a lot of business to get to, but the one thing I wanted to mention quickly before we get to it is the Wrapped is here. The Wrap is here. That's right. Spotify Wrap is here. And what's even better? The Wrap for Creators is here, which is how podcasters using Spotify will be notified of how they are doing. All I'm going to give you right now before we keep going on this topic that we're doing is our top episode this year in our Wrapped. What is our top episode? Well, a lot of the time you hear me talk about our top 10 episodes. We're going to do that in the season 3 finale. But what is this year's Sports for Beginners top episode? Let's find out, shall we? Let's go and find that out, shall we? We have a clear favorite. Our fans have a clear favorite. And our top episode is Blue Jays game recap. Blue Jays versus Padres, 3-game series. So it seems like we really like the Blue Jays 3-game series recap show against the San Diego Padres. Don't worry. A lot of the shows that we didn't bring out at the end of this past baseball season, some of the new program that we're doing on Blue Jays game recap will return, including the starting lineups. But maybe we'll just do it via introductions as well. And what I mean by introductions is who is the matchup on the mound, the meeting on the mound for each game. Unless we do that in a pregame show. It was streamed 393% more than an average episode of Sports for Beginners. Thank you so much to everyone who streamed that episode. It was really great fun putting together, especially who was hosting that program. which was our friend Thomas McGregor. And that's all we're going to review. We're going to reveal for right now. That's all we'll reveal for now. But this is the segment where we got to get into everything. So let's jump right in. We're going to start with our scorers. And I also have the NHL website out for me to be helpful there or be helped there. We're gonna refer to that a few times. But without further ado, let's get started. We've taken some time to take a look at our wrap. Not a lot of time, because we don't have a lot of time, but we've taken some time to do that. So now let's keep it going with our main portion of the show here. Some might call it the meat and potatoes. Here we go. Congratulations to Owen Pickering. Owen Pickering. Congratulations to you, Owen. Last night you scored your first career NHL goal and your first goal of the season. Congratulations. You got a goal to go in. On the assist, Blake Lizotte, his second of the season. Time of the goal, 9 minutes, 20 seconds. Very quick, but okay, maybe not as quick. But it was a very nice goal in the game. Also, I should note for the penalty takers, no penalties were called in the first period. And also a goal that was scored by Florida early on was disallowed after Mike Sullivan decided to challenge for offside. So I don't remember exactly who it was from Florida that scored, but regardless, I'll take a look at the highlights of that to remember. But moving along, it's 1-0 Pens. So the Penguins on top 1-0. Early first period after a successful challenge almost backfired and gave the Penguins probably the only penalty of the first period. The next goal that was scored was the sixth of the season for number 71, Evgeny Malkin. His sixth of the season. And with that, Malkin, on the cusp of 500 goals, 600 goals, I should say, on the season, I should say. Malkin is moving steadily ahead, and he is moving at a good pace. Who knows? Before the season is over, maybe, I'm not saying it'll happen, maybe Evgeny Malkin will eclipse the 600 goal mark. But he'd be like the third Pittsburgh Penguin player to do so, besides Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby. But he's working on it. Gino's working on it. Again, Gino's goal, his sixth of the season. Philip Tomasino on the assist, number 2 for him on the season. on the assist category. And DOC, Drew O'Connor, his 6th of the season. 6th assist of the season. And Evgeny Malkin's goal coming at 10 minutes and 32 seconds. For Evgeny Malkin, his goal, his 6th of the season. And number 504 of his career. So he's now got 504 goals. He's now got 504 goals in his career. 816 assists. 1,320 points. And he's a plus 41 for his career in 1,172 games in his career. For this season, Malkin has played in all 27 games this season. Has 6 goals, 18 assists, 24 points, and is minus 11. The Panthers get that goal back that got disallowed as Matthew Tkachuk picks up his 6th goal of the season. Alexander Barkov picking up his 19th goal assist of the season, not goal. His 19th assist of the season on that goal by Matthew Tkachuk. His 6th of the season, and the former Penguin Dmitry Kulikov picks up his 3rd assist of the season. 17 minutes and 24 seconds in. After 20 minutes, with the Penguins down 13-5 in the shot total, as we roll on here with our scorers, it's the Penguins 2, the Panthers 1. Panthers down by 1 goal. Would that stay the same? Let's jump to it, shall we? It would stay the same, but the Penguins only get 1 goal in the second period. And that comes off of number 58, Christopher Letang, his 4th of the season. Matt Grzelcyk on the assist, his 24th of the season. Blake Lizotte, 2nd assist of the evening, 3rd of the season. 6 minutes and 54 seconds in, it's 3-1 Penguins. Penguins on top 3-1. They're on top after 40 minutes by just 2 goals. Dmitry Kulikov, as we're rolling through here. I know I said I'll save the penalties for later, but we'll at least get the second period penalties out of the way so that we don't have to worry about that. So Dmitry Kulikov takes the only Panthers, the first of the 2 Panthers penalties. And the goal comes after the power play that the Penguins would get on the Dmitry Kulikov 2-minute minor for slashing. 11 minutes and 17 seconds in. At 18 minutes and 37 seconds in, AJ Geer and Noel Acciari. AJ Greer and Noel Acciari pick up 2-minute minors for roughing for both the Penguins and the Panthers. Noel Achari for the Penguins and AJ Gear for the Panthers. Shots after 40, 11-5 in favor of the Panthers. After 40, though, shots after 2 periods of play, 24-10 in favor of the Panthers. Panthers still heavily outshooting the Penguins, 24-10. Third period rolls around. Marcus Pettersson makes it 4-1 Pittsburgh with his second goal of the season. That's assisted by the captain, number 87, Sidney Crosby. His 18th of the season. 18th assist of the season for Sidney Crosby. And number 67, Ricard Raquel on the assist. His 6th of the season. 3 minutes and 45 seconds in. The Penguins take a 4-1 lead. They take a 4-1 lead over the Panthers. But look out, here come the Panthers. Sam Bennett scores his 13th goal of the season. Jesper B picks up his third assist of the season. Matthew Tkachuk also on the assist. Number 15th of the season for him. 6 minutes and 55 seconds. Look at this. The Panthers are back within 2. It's 4-2 Penguins over the Panthers. But they're not done yet. Adam B picks up his second goal of the season. Matthew Tkachuk on the assist. His 16th assist of the season. Second of the evening. JB picks up his 4th assist of the season. Jesper B picks up his. I'll just go with JB. Sorry about that if I'm pronouncing it wrong, Adam. If I'm pronouncing that player of your teammate wrong, I apologize. We're just going to go with JB. So JB picking up his 4th assist of the season and 2nd of the evening, same as Matthew Tkachuk. And speaking of Tkachuk, Tkachuk had 2 goals in this game, including one on the power play, PPG for FLA. A PPG for FLA. That's Matthew Tkachuk's 7th goal of the season and 2nd of the night. His first was his 6th goal of the season. And that's what made it 2-1 after 1 period of play. In the third period, he makes it all square at a 4-4 tie. So, we're in a 4-4 tie for the game, 11 minutes and 27 seconds in. Of course, the goal by Adam B and Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett coming in at 6 minutes and 55 seconds. At 8 minutes and 58 seconds, Adam B coming in with his goal. Aaron Ekblad with his 13th assist of the season on the Matthew Tkachuk goal on the power play. PPG for FLA. And it's 4-4. We're in a 4-4 tie. We need overtime after regulation. First of all, the shots were 17-5 when you look at the period. But still, the Panthers leading the Penguins. At this point, they were outshooting the Penguins 41-15 total in the shots. Penguins get the only shot in overtime, and that comes off the stick of Brian Rust, number 17. And you know what that means. You've probably already been enjoying it all day long today, but you know what that means today. It's time to go get yourself half off Jake Rusty Shakes at the Milkshake Factory. The Penguins' final total, as they would remain outshot, they get the only shot on goal. It goes by Spencer Knight in the overtime period, and the Penguins win it 5-4 on the Brian Rust goal. His 8th goal of the season. Evgeny Malkin picking up an assist. His only assist of the game. And number 18 of the season for him. Number 18 of the season for him. And that was a minute 31 seconds into overtime. And Brian Rust said, game over. We're going to win this game even if we have to win it in extra time. And that's what he did. Final totals in overtime period. 0 shots on goal for the Penguins. For the Panthers. 1 shot on goal for the Penguins, but they were outshot 41-16 in the shot totals. All right. The remaining penalties. Well, you know what? Let's just do it right now. We're going to get to the game stats in the next break, but let's just do it now. The last penalty to be called in this game went to Pittsburgh, and that went to Blake Lizotte. 2 minutes for high sticking. Time of the penalty, 9 minutes and 49 seconds. So Blake Lizotte getting a penalty in the third period. We also saw a penalty taken by Noel Acciari, AJ Greer, and Dmitry Kulikov picking up penalties for the Panthers. The penalties to the Penguins went to Noel Acciari. They also went to Blake Lizotte. Blake Lizotte picking up an assist. He picks up an assist on the Owen Pickering goal. Pickering's first of the NHL. His first of the season, but it's also his first in his NHL career. We also have Lizotte picking up an assist on the Letang goal. Lizotte had 2 assists in this game. He also took a penalty. But We also had a couple other goals as well. The final game stats coming up in the next segment. But once again, our shots on goal at the end of our game breakdown. Now that we've already broke down the penalties as well. And we didn't have to go over to the first period because nothing happened. So that was a pass. Whew. Gotta pass that one. The final shot total was 41-16. Be sure to stick with us because after this, we are going to take you into the other stats we haven't gone over yet. Plus, I've got some interesting news regarding PWHL recap. So stick around for that. Plus, we also still have what's next for the Panthers, what's next for the Penguins, all that still to come. I would love to get into the Tuesday action, but we're just going to stick with Pittsburgh's game and leave the rest for another time. I will tell you this. In our recap with the Maple Leafs, in our recap with the Toronto Maple Leafs, I will be taking a look around the NHL. So it might not happen with the Rangers, but it will definitely be going on when the Maple Leafs are in Pittsburgh. All right, so stick with us because when we return, the last couple of game stats for this game between the Pens and the Panthers, 3 stars of the game, and I'll also provide you with my play of the game. Then we'll take another break. After that break, the shake of the game. We're going to get into the game puck of the game because I said time permitting. But I also want to let everyone know that I'm going to be back with you after tonight's PWHL game between the Minnesota Frost and the Boston Fleet. Currently in the second period right now, with the Frost leading the Fleet 1-0. We've got a ton of the content, including our first Minnesota Frost recap coming your way, as well as our recap of the Flames and the Penguins. We just launched our recap of the Bruins and the Pens, and so much more. All right, let's take that break. So stick with us.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches.
looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams, listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map.
All right, time now that the scorers and the penalty takers have been taken down. Time now for the remaining game stats, our 3 stars of the game, and much more, including the shake of the game, which is by far my personal favorite segment that I love to do. I also like the game puck of the game, but sometimes we don't have a lot of time to get to that. So without further ado, Penguins win it 5-4. They defeat the Florida Panthers 5-4 and improve their win streak to 4 games. They have now won 4 games in a row, 3 with Tristan Jarry starting. On the face-off dot on Tuesday night, they won 34 out of 70 face-offs for a face-off percentage in the face-off dot at 48.6%. They also picked up not so good stuff on the power play and penalty kill. They are 0 for 1 in both, which means the Florida Panthers are perfect in both. They are 1 for 1 on the power play and 1 for 1 on the penalty kill. So the Panthers' power play and penalty kill was clicking against the Penguins. The Panthers, meanwhile, won 36 out of 70 of our face-offs on Tuesday night. 51.4% of those was our percentage. As I said, they won 36 out of 70. Both teams equally spent 4 minutes in the penalty box. On the 2 minutes for roughing call and the penalty that gave each team a power play. Only 2 power plays to speak of, 1 to a side. The Panthers out-hit the Penguins 38-14, but they lost the blocked shots category to the Penguins 21-11. 15 giveaways for the Penguins, 5 takeaways. 13 giveaways for the Panthers, and 10 takeaways. All right. Time now for your 3 stars of the game. We're going to get ourselves into the play of the game before we take the next break. But first, time now for your 3 stars of the game. And if you listen to it on the Penguins radio network, they are brought to you by your neighborhood Ford stores in Pittsburgh. Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs are the official vehicles of the Pittsburgh Penguins. We are not sponsored by that, so here we go. With that, and again a quick disclaimer, the play of the game, also brought to you by Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. Not sponsored by that either. So, without further ado, here we go. Your third star on Tuesday night was number 38, the rookie for the Penguins, Owen Pickering. A goal, no assists, 1 point. No assists, 1 point. Was the goal that he scored, his first goal in the National Hockey League, which is the short form of the NHL. The NHL is the short form for the National Hockey League. Matthew Tkachuk lines in at our second star with 2 goals, 2 assists, and 4 points. And well-deserved. This is well-deserved. I think everybody here deserves it. I mean, I don't know if I could have scripted it better for the 3 stars, but here's what you have for this one. Brian Rust, a goal, no assist, 1 point, same as Owen Pickering. Matthew Tkachuk, your second star. Your first star is Brian Rust. Matthew Tkachuk, your second star, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. And Owen Pickering, a goal, no assists, and 1 point. He is your third star. Owen Pickering, Matthew Tkachuk, and Brian Rust, in the order going from Brian Rust to Matthew Tkachuk to Owen Pickering. Those are your 3 stars for Tuesday night's matchup in the Burgh between the Florida Panthers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins sweep a homestand. They sweep that 2-game homestand as they defeat Calgary and get even with Calgary. That game was on Saturday. They defeated Calgary going on flames. Our final score of that game, by the way, was... I mean, just look at it. Just look at our final score. Just look. The final score was 6-2 in favor of the Penguins. Tuesday night, the game we're talking about right now, the final score was 5-4 in overtime. Now the Penguins are about to face a team that embarrassed them at home in the opening of the season. But we're going to talk about that in a moment or two. 3 stars are in the books. They're out of the way. So let's get to my play of the game. If you want to get in on the action, no matter when we release the show, head on over to our Discord server, Penguins Post-Game Show Interactions. And also, if you don't have Discord, it's completely alright if you don't. Send us an email at sportsforbeginners8231@gmail.com. Once again, sportsforbeginners8231@gmail.com. My play of the game? I mean, how can you not try to pick a play of the game? I'm not sure what the old 2 Niners play of the game was, but I'm going to go with fast forward. Actually, no, rewind back to 9 minutes and 20 seconds in the first period. Owen Pickering's goal is my play of the game. That's good enough for my play of the game. Congratulations once again to Owen Pickering. First goal of many in his NHL career. you always will remember your first goal. And I'm pretty sure he will remember his first goal and who it was against. Owen Pickering, good enough for my play of the game. Again, listening to that on the Penguins radio network. That's brought to you by Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. The 3 stars brought to you by, on the Penguins radio network, brought to you by your neighborhood Ford stores. Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs are the official vehicles of the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're not sponsored by any of that, so without further ado, we're taking a break. When we come back, it's time for the shake of the game. You can get in on the action by either sending us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. That's sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. 8231@gmail.com. Making sure I get that right. You can also utilize the Discord. Penguins post-game show interactions. That's where you can do all that good stuff. And the same will go for all the other post-game shows we do. Head on over to those Discord servers. If you're not on Discord, hit us up on, yes, I say hit us up on our email, sportsforbeginners.podcast8231@gmail.com. With that said, we'll take a break. Shake of the game is next, followed by the game puck of the game. The game puck of the game. It will be a brief one. And from there, we'll move on to what is next for the Penguins and what is next for the Panthers. So be sure you stick with me. And also, off the top, you'll hear my PWHL announcement about PWHL recap coming in 2025. Again, it's not for now. It's in the 2025 area. My PWHL recap announcement is coming up next, including the shake of the game as well, the game puck of the game, and what's next for the Panthers, what's next for the Penguins. All that is next on Penguins postgame when we return in a moment.
Hello? How are you, my friend? Why? What's the matter? Why feeling bored and lonely? Look at me. I am always happy. The only reason? I can tell you, it's because I listen to CNT Radio. All the best shows you can think of. The Melting Pot, the Cosmopolitan Culture Club, and the Song Bank. There are also many more new shows to come. Please make sure to visit her website at http://sienna-t.wordpress.com/sienna-t-radio. Oh, now I can hear you more cheerful. CNT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
On this episode of Weekly in Sports, it's the end of an era, but it's only the beginning of a new era. Weekly in Sports is done airing on Sports for Beginners, plus Season 2 of the PWHL is getting started, and with the holiday season right around the corner, we're talking about what are your favorite holiday traditions, all that and more, on the final episode that will air here on Sports for Beginners, and final end of the month program for 2024 of Weekly in Sports. And it begins now. Thank you very much, Ali, for so much of a great content that you provide on Broadcast Map. I'm going to check into Broadcast Map on YouTube, try to be doing that regularly. And I will check out one of the latest broadcast maps that is now available wherever you listen to your audio podcast, and is also now available on YouTube, on the Broadcast Map YouTube channel. There will be a link in this episode's show notes to check that out. Please go do so if you haven't already. Again, that's Broadcast Map on YouTube. And for more information on that, please log on to alitechgroup.wordpress.com/broadcastmap. Once again, head over to alitechgroup.wordpress.com/broadcastmap. Again, alitechgroup.wordpress.com/broadcastmap. All right. Lots of great content on Broadcast Map. Lots of great content all over the area. Lots to see and do. Lots to check out. Lots to do. Broadcast Map's latest guest from yesterday, the day of the game that we are recording for, was Valerie Geller. Valerie Geller. I'm looking forward to that conversation, as well as many other, including, this is an interesting conversation for anyone who's interested in politics talk with Canada and the US. Becky Coles joined Ali in the studio to talk about Canadian and US politics. So if you want to check out that, by all means, go right ahead. And with that being said, we have some stuff to get to. First up on my list, as we said in the last break, I have a very special treat for you. On Saturday, January 25th, 2025, during the new year, we are going to break off from our Minnesota Frost content and bring you another Sirens game besides when they play Minnesota Frost. What's our game? Remember the battle on Bay Street? Remember the battle on Bay Street that went down in the inaugural season between Toronto and, well, Montreal, if I'm not mistaken? Do you remember that? I'm sure everybody who's checked out the PWHL remembers that game. What a game that was. Well, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? The battle on Bay Street is back, and we will have it for you on Sports for Beginners. That's right, the PWHL is returning to the home of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Scotiabank Arena, as Scotiabank represents the PWHL Battle on Bay Street. It's the New York Sirens this time versus the Toronto Scepters. Last time it was Montreal versus Toronto in the names that they were before in PWHL Montreal and PWHL Toronto. Of course, that was before they became the Montreal Victoire, what they're known as now. And of course, the Toronto Scepters, what the Toronto team is now known as. Alright, so hopefully you join us for that action. I cannot wait to cover the battle on Bay Street. I wish it was already January right now. I wish I was already 25, to be honest, right now. Also, in the news there, I might touch on this a little bit more when I do my recap of Minnesota versus the Sirens. No, sorry, that one I already did. Minnesota versus the Fleet, I should say. But congratulations to Izzy Daniel on her first ever PWHL goal. Congratulations, Izzy. What a day it was for you, and definitely a night you will not remember. You will not forget. Will not remember. You won't forget. You will remember. You will remember that. You will remember that. You'll always remember your first goal, and it happened during the Toronto Scepters' recent game that they played, not in the opener, that is. It happened in the Tuesday action. I believe it was Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday. Check the schedule here just for 1 second. That was the Battle of Ontario. So what better way to get your first PWHL goal as a member of the Scepters and of your career than during the Battle of Ontario? That was a good one. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see it, so we'll wait for the highlights to come out. And I've noticed on the YouTube channel for the PWHL, you're unable to view, well, at least in Canada, you're unable to view tonight's games, which I'm not sure why, but I'll leave that for the PWHL to figure out. With that said, next on our agenda, the Shake of the Game. This was a segment that was inspired by a former Penguin, now Tampa Bay Lightning. The one, the only, Jake Guentzel. So Jake Guentzel, he inspired this ad, or this segment, which we call the Shake of the Game. And that was because of his Milkshake Factory ad at the official milkshake of the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Milkshake Factory, the official milkshake of your Pittsburgh Penguins. That has now been taken over by Brian Rust. And speaking of Rusty, he leads off as our recipient for the Pittsburgh Penguins of the Shake of the Game, because he scored you half off Jake Shake, half off Rusty Shakes. I gotta remember, Jake Shakes are no longer at the Milkshake Factory. Well, okay, maybe they're not no longer at the Milkshake Factory, but it's now Rusty Shake. I gotta remember that. Again, I extend my question out to everyone who has tried these shakes. Which is better, Jake Shakes or Rusty Shake? Which is better? That's what I want to know. All right. Brian Rust, you lead us off. With our Shake of the Game. Runner-up for that is Owen Pickering, and in third place, Tristan Jarry. So Tristan Jarry and Owen Pickering are runners-up for the Shake of the Game. Brian Rust is the recipient of the Shake of the Game for the Pittsburgh Penguins. For the Florida Panthers, it was difficult for me to pick from the Florida Panthers, but I'm going to go with Matthew Tkachuk for the recipient, with former Penguin Evan Rodriguez stomping for third, and Panthers goaltender against Jarry on Tuesday night, Spencer Knight. Spencer Knight is one of our two runners-up for the Shake of the Game. But moving along to the Game Puck of the Game, and he's going to get a pick-me-up Game Puck of the Game as the recipient of the Game Puck of the Game. Made 11 saves on 16 shots, allowed 5 goals, all on even strength. Even strength, I should say. Finished the game with a save percentage of .688 on the ice for 61 minutes and 31 seconds. Penguins recipient of the Game Puck of the Game, Tristan Jarry, again runner-up, but just to reiterate his stats here, 37 saves on 41 shots, gave up 4 goals, 3 at even strength, 1 on the power play. Ends the night with a save percentage of .902 and a time on the ice of 61 minutes and 31 seconds. The recipient is the rookie, Owen Pickering. A goal, a point, no assists, no plus minus. 11 minutes and he was on the ice for 11 minutes and 35 seconds. 18 shifts, a shot on goal that went in, a blocked shot. No giveaways, no takeaways, no hits. And that's it. He's on the defense side, so that's it. So Owen Pickering, he'd been battling an illness, I was told, based on what I've been hearing, but he's got it. So pick me up, game puck of the game, going to Spencer Knight, and Owen Pickering picking up a game puck of the game for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Recipients of the shake of the game, Matthew Tkachuk and Brian Rust, with Owen Pickering stomping for third place, Tristan Jarry in second place, and we had some runners up for Matthew Tkachuk, Evan Rodriguez, and Spencer Knight. All right. We are just about done here, so real quick, what's next for the Florida Panthers? That's what we're wrapping up with here, as we have just about hit the hour mark of the program. Well, actually, we're over the hour mark right now. We're about 3 minutes in of an hour, going on 4 minutes. So real quick, next up for our defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Next up for the Panthers, what's next? Real quick, what's next? Well, they are back in action. Still in Pennsylvania, but they are in action with the Philadelphia Flyers on Thursday. That's tomorrow, December the 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Back in action Saturday against the San Jose Sharks from sunrise at home. They'll host the Sharks at 6 p.m. Eastern. Out they go on the road to Seattle to kick off a 5 game road trip. They kick off a 5-game road trip where they'll see Seattle on Tuesday, December 10th. That's next Tuesday. This coming Tuesday. They'll be in Vancouver next Thursday night, December 12th. Both those games at 10 p.m. Then next Saturday night on the 14th, they are in Calgary to take on the Flames. And then they'll face off against Connor McDavid and the Oilers on Monday, December 16, 2024 at 8:30 p.m. So Philadelphia, San Jose, Seattle, Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton are the next 5 up for grabs for the Florida Panthers. How about for the Penguins? Well, they'll have a back-to-back forthcoming for the Penguins. Penguins will have a back-to-back forthcoming. As they are back in action on Friday night. They'll take on the New York Rangers for the second time this season. Game is at Madison Square Garden. Time is 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Our coverage, should we record the day of the game, right after the game, will kick off at just about 5 minutes after the final buzzer to give us some time to hear, depending on if you're listening to the Penguins Radio Network, it'll give us some time to hear a little bit of the post-game show on the Penguins Radio Network. Then we will battle the Toronto Maple Leafs on a hockey night in Canada from Pittsburgh on Saturday. Off day for the Penguins, which means a game day for the Bills. More on that in just a moment. But it's an off day for the Penguins on Sunday. Back in action Tuesday against the Avalanche, who will be in town on Tuesday, December the 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then a 2-game road trip leads to a one-night-only game against the Kings on the 17th of December, the following Tuesday night. Those 2 road games are Hockey Night in Canada next Saturday night against the Ottawa Senators in Ottawa, in the nation's capital of Canada. And before that, on Thursday, December the 12th, we'll see the Penguins battle the Canadiens for the third and final time this season, as they will not see the Pittsburgh Penguins for the rest of the 2024-2025 season. Their final meeting is this coming Thursday. It's so close, in fact, it's actually next Thursday, not this Thursday, which is tomorrow, December 5th. Next Thursday, this season series with the Montreal Canadiens will wrap it up for the 2024-2025 season. So the Rangers, the Leafs, the Avalanche, the Canadiens, and the Senators before the Penguins battle the Kings. And by the time the Senators battle the Penguins, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to be 3 games away from the first Battle of PA of the 2024-2025 season. That's right. The Battle of PA is coming up. The Battle of Pennsylvania is coming up. And I cannot wait to bring it to you here on Penguins Postgame. Before we leave you, our officials for this game as we wrap this up and get you set up for another edition of PWHL Recap coming your way tomorrow, as well as another edition of Penguins Postgame coming your way probably Friday night. We will bring you our officials for this game right now. And again, as I said, I will be with you for this entire back-to-back as the Penguins battle the Rangers from Madison Square Garden on Friday night. They'll battle the Maple Leafs from the same spot they battled today. Well, in this recap, they battled on Tuesday night. Same place, different squad. That's where the Maple Leafs are headed in a few days' time, and a Saturday day's time. That's actually literally this Saturday, to be honest with you. All right. Our officials. I need to focus here. Our officials. Officials for this game where the Penguins beat the Florida Panthers 5-4 in overtime. Our final score. The officials for this game: Chris Lee and Jordan Samuel Thomas. The referees: Michel Camrier and Andrew Smith. Are your linesmen. Again, Chris Lee, Jordan Samuel Thomas, Andrew Smith, and Michel Camrier. Head coaches, once again, Mike Sullivan and Paul Maurice. That's it for this one. Thank you very much for joining us and sticking with us for however long the recording goes. Would love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please feel free to leave comments in our YouTube channel, or now you can do so on Spotify. So leave a comment down below. Comment your feedback in our Discord server. I'll check it out. There's a link in the show notes to join. If it is not working, please alert me by sending an email to sportsforbeganners.podcast8231@gmail.com. Or if you're on Discord and you've become a friend of mine on Discord, DM me there as well, and I will make sure that is handled. Again, if the link is broken, the preferred way for me to act would be if you sent an email to sportsforbeganners.podcast8231@gmail.com. Penguins beat the Panthers 5-4 in overtime. That's it for Penguins postgame. Be back with you on Friday after the Rangers and the Pens. Pens and the Rangers. The rematch from Madison Square Garden is Friday. And we'll have it for you here on Penguins postgame. Until then, thank you so much for listening. Let's go Pens! And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon. Peace, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. You've just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners or visit the official Sports for Beginners podcast website. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay tuned. And remember that it is not goodbye, it is until next time. And you'd have to be here to believe it. Thank you so much for checking in to Penguins postgame this season, Penguins fans. Your host of the Sports for Beginners podcast, Scott McGregor, here. I just wanted to let you guys know that it brings me great joy to bring you a show like the one we brought you last year, and it brings me even more joy with everything that has come out of it as well, as we try to navigate through quite a year with milestone after milestone in the month of October and the month of September. As mentioned, again, my name is Scott McGregor, but if you have any questions, any concerns, any content you want aired on the program, please send me an email at sportsforbeginners8231 at gmail.com. Once again, that's sportsforbeginners 8231 at gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast and for listening to this episode of Penguins Postgame. We will see you next time right here on Sports for Beginners. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.